Girl stops her own grandmother from coming to prom, but suddenly gets a call from the hospital. Liza, a typical teen girl, thought only about what her peers would think of her, leaving her grandma feeling left out. After rejecting her grandmother's gift, she decided to stop her from even showing up before the prom. She would soon realize how deeply mistaken she was about her priorities. Chapter 1. A young girl named Liza, with bright eyes and a hopeful smile, was sitting on her bed with her laptop. She scrolled through an online store, her eyes lighting up at the sight of a stunning dress. It was a designer gown, shimmering with sequins, and way out of her budget. She sighed and looked over at her mother, who was reading a book in the armchair by the window. "Mom, can I please get this dress for prom? It's perfect," Liza pleaded, showing the screen to her mother. Her mother glanced at the price and shook her head. "Liza, that's too expensive. We can't afford to spend that much on a dress you'll wear once." "But, Mom, everyone at school is talking about their designer dresses. I don't want to be the only one without one," Liza argued, her voice rising with frustration. Her mother sighed, trying to stay calm. "Honey, I understand, but spending that much money on a dress isn't practical. Besides, someone has a surprise for you today. You might not need to buy a dress." Liza frowned, crossing her arms. "A surprise? What kind of surprise?" Her mother smiled mysteriously. "You'll see. Just be patient." Liza huffed and went back to browsing the online store. But she couldn't shake off her annoyance. After a while, there was a knock on the door. Liza's grandmother, Pam, entered the house, holding a package wrapped neatly in gift paper. Pam's eyes twinkled as she approached Liza. "Hello, dear. I brought you something special," Pam said warmly, handing the package to Liza. Liza's curiosity got the better of her, and she eagerly tore open the package. Inside was a beautiful dress, handcrafted with intricate details and care. But Liza's excitement faded quickly as she realized it wasn't the designer dress she had dreamed of. "I'm not wearing this," she shouted, her disappointment turning into anger. She didn't consider how hurtful her words might be to her grandmother. Pam's smile faltered, but she stayed quiet. Liza's mother stepped in, trying to calm her daughter. "Liza, please, at least try it on. Your grandmother made it with so much love." Liza rolled her eyes but agreed reluctantly. She put on the dress and stood in front of the mirror, her frustration growing. "I can't go to prom in this. My friends will laugh at me." "Why do you say that, Liza?" her mother asked gently. "Your grandmother made it for you. It's not even branded. How will I answer when they ask which store I bought it from?" Liza snapped. Her mother tried to reassure her. "Well, dear, I think you look beautiful." "No. Are you trying to save money on me? Prom only happens once in a lifetime. I'm not wearing this," Liza shouted, tears of anger welling up in her eyes. Finally, her mother sighed and decided to give in. "All right, Liza. I'll order the dress you want from the store." Pam quietly accepted Liza's choice and carefully packed the dress she had made. She didn't say much, but her disappointment was clear. Liza was too wrapped up in her own feelings to notice the sadness in her grandmother's eyes. The evening before prom finally arrived. Liza sat in the passenger seat of her mother's car, nervously fiddling with the hem of her new designer dress. The dress sparkled under the dim streetlights as they drove, making her feel both excited and anxious. "Mom, please stop here," Liza said, her voice tense. Her mother glanced at her in surprise. "Dear, I'll drive a bit further, the prom is just ahead." Liza shook her head, her expression firm. "I'll walk by myself. I don't want you to embarrass me in front of my friends again." Her mother's face fell. "When did that happen?" she asked, clearly hurt and upset. Liza rolled her eyes. her tone sharp. It's easier to count when it didn't happen. Just stop the car, Ma. With a sigh, her mother pulled over to the side of the road. She stepped out to help Liza get out of the car without dirtying her dress. She smoothed the fabric and made sure Liza looked perfect. Then she pulled her into a hug. Have fun, dear, her mother said softly. If you need anything, ask your grandmother. She agreed to help in the kitchen at the school before the prom. Liza's eyes widened in shock and anger. What? Grandma is here, she exclaimed. She couldn't believe it. She didn't want any of her relatives at the prom, convinced they would embarrass her by treating her like a child. Don't worry, her mother tried to reassure her. She'll only be there at the beginning of the ceremony. No one will even notice her. We'll see about that, Liza muttered under her breath as she turned away, her anger bubbling up again. She walked briskly toward the school entrance, her heels clicking against the pavement. Her heart sank when she saw Pam standing near the entrance, holding a package wrapped in gift paper. Liza's anger flared up even more. Spying her friend Kevin nearby, she hurried over to him, pointing at her grandmother. Kevin, can you do me a favor? Tell the guard not to let her in. Kevin looked hesitant. Liza, are you sure? She's your grandmother. Liza gave him a flirtatious smile, knowing it would convince him. Please, Kevin? I really need this. Kevin sighed, giving in. All right. I'll do it. Liza watched from inside the school as Kevin talked to the guard. She saw Pam approach the entrance, only to be stopped by the guard. Pam's face fell as she realized she wouldn't be allowed in. She pleaded for a moment but eventually asked if she could leave the package for Liza. The guard nodded and took it from her. Liza let out a sigh of relief. No one would embarrass her tonight. With a smile, she turned and walked toward the party, ready to enjoy her night without any worries. Liza danced among her friends, her heart pounding with excitement. The school gymnasium was transformed into a glittering wonderland, with colorful lights, balloons, and decorations everywhere. She twirled around, her designer dress sparkling under the disco ball. She felt like a princess, basking in the compliments from her friends. You look amazing, Liza, one of her friends gushed. That dress is perfect. Thanks. It's from that new designer store, Liza replied, a proud smile on her face. As she continued dancing, Liza couldn't help but glance around the hall, scrutinizing everyone's appearance. She aimed to become the prom queen, and it was crucial for her to look better than anyone else. Her eyes darted from one girl to another, comparing dresses, hairstyles, and accessories. Suddenly, Kate, one of Liza's closest friends, tapped her on the shoulder. Liza, we have a problem, Kate said, her voice tense. Liza turned to her, confused. What do you mean? Kate pointed across the hall. Holly is wearing the same dress as you. Liza's heart sank as she followed Kate's gaze. There, at the end of the hall, stood Holly, the most popular girl in school, wearing the exact same dress. Holly looked stunning, her confidence radiating as she chatted with her friends. Are you serious? Liza groaned. This is not happening. Kate nodded. I think you should change if you don't want problems. You know how Holly can be. Liza's frustration grew, but she refused to back down. It's not my problem, Kate. Holly should change, not me. The evening continued, but Liza couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling. Every time she caught a glimpse of Holly, a knot tightened in her stomach. She tried to enjoy herself, but the fear of being overshadowed gnawed at her. Suddenly, Holly approached Liza with her two friends in tow. Holly's eyes glinted with mischief. Nice dress, Liza. Too bad it's too beautiful for someone like you. Before Liza could respond, One of Holly's friends abruptly poured a glass of red punch on her dress. In an instant, the dress was completely ruined, soaked, and stained. Liza gasped, her eyes welling up with tears. She couldn't believe what had just happened. With tears streaming down her face, she ran out of the hall, her heart breaking with every step. She burst into the restroom, frantically trying to clean the dress. But nothing worked. The dress was ruined. In despair, Liza headed to the school exit, crying uncontrollably. She felt her dreams of becoming prom queen slipping away. Just then, the guard approached her, his expression sympathetic. He handed her a tissue to wipe her tears and then gave her the package Pam had left for her. "Your grandmother left this for you. Just in case," the guard said gently. "Maybe now is the right moment." Liza's tears slowed as she opened the package. Inside was the dress Pam had made, the one she had rejected so harshly. She smiled through her tears, feeling a wave of gratitude. "Grandma always thought of every possibility. It seems she saved me this time," she whispered to herself. With renewed determination, Liza took the dress and went to the restroom to change. As she slipped into the handmade gown, she felt a sense of warmth and love surrounding her. She looked in the mirror and realized that sometimes the most beautiful things come from the heart. Returning to the hall in her grandmother's dress, Liza felt a mix of nervousness and hope. As she stepped inside, the room fell silent for a moment. Everyone turned to look at her, their eyes widening in surprise. The dress, with its intricate embroidery and unique design, shimmered softly under the lights. "Wow, Liza, where did you get that dress?" one of her classmates exclaimed. "It's beautiful," another added. Liza's heart swelled with pride and joy as boys and girls alike praised her dress. "It's one of a kind," she said, her voice soft but clear. "My grandmother made it for me." The realization hit her like a wave. She had been so foolish to dismiss the dress and be rude to her grandmother. Pam had poured her love and effort into making something special for her. Instead of appreciating it, Liza yelled at her and shut her out on one of the most important days of her life. Tears threatened to spill as she reflected on her behavior. How could she have been so selfish? She wanted to drop everything and run to her grandmother, to apologize and thank her for everything. But just as she was about to leave, the principal took the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to announce our prom queen contestants," he said, his voice echoing through the hall. Liza's name was called, and she felt a thrill of excitement. This was her dream, to be recognized and admired by her peers. However, her phone buzzed in her hand, pulling her back to reality. Seeing her mother's name on the screen, she felt a sudden dread. She answered the call, her heart pounding. "Liza, Pam is in the hospital," her mother said urgently. "Do you know what happened at school?" "I'm already on my way there, I can pick you up." Liza's breath caught in her throat. "What? Is she okay?" she stammered, tears welling up. "I don't know all the details. But we need to go now," her mother replied. Fear and guilt washed over Liza. What if her grandmother's condition was her fault? What if her childish whims had caused this? She couldn't bear the thought. "Yes, Mom. Please pick me up, I'm going too," she said, her voice shaky but resolute. As she left the hall, Liza knew what mattered most. Winning prom queen meant nothing if it meant losing the person who loved her unconditionally. Upon arriving at the hospital, Liza and her mother rushed through the sterile halls. Her mother immediately ran to find a doctor while Liza, her heart pounding, made her way to Pam's room alone. Pushing open the door, she saw her grandmother lying unconscious on the hospital bed. The sight was too much, Liza couldn't hold back her tears. She pulled up a chair next to the bed and took Pam's frail hand in her own. "Grandma, I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's because of me that you weren't let inside the school." Tears streamed down her face as she continued. I was afraid that my friends would laugh at me because of how you talked to me. But now I see how foolish I was. Liza wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, her grip on Pam's hand tightening. You shouldn't be ashamed of being loved. And I should have been grateful for everything you've done. She took a deep breath, looking at the beautiful, handmade dress she was still wearing. Your dress is wonderful, Grandma. I'm ashamed that I cared more about others' opinions than about your love and effort. For a moment, Liza thought she saw a faint smile on Pam's face as if her grandmother had heard her words in her sleep. Then, the door opened, and the doctor entered with Liza's mother. Pam is now in stable condition, the doctor explained kindly. She'll be fine and should wake up very soon. But she needs to worry less. Liza smiled through her tears, relieved beyond words. I promise I'll take care of that, she said, her heart filled with newfound resolve. She knew she would cherish her grandmother and never let anything come between them again. Despite not winning the prom queen title, Liza had with her what mattered most. Tell us what you think about this story, and share it with your friends. It might inspire them and brighten their day.